I have been a medical practitioner all my life, and I have seen several dead bodies across hospitals and morgues, which isn't that really different. But there is one distinct thing, or rather, I would call it as an incident, that I would always remember throughout my life. I think that still haunts me till this date. Unfortunately, nobody believes me. But would you? My story begins many years back when I was just a nurse, freshly graduated from the medical college. I used to majorly work in day shifts, and I used to take care of patients who were terminally ill at a government hospital. But that day was something different. It was rainy all day. It rained and there was a lot of clouds and it was thundering all day. It was a very gloomy day, to be precise. And as my shift was ending and I was getting ready to go back to my mess hall, the warden came up to me saying that the nurse who was supposed to cover the night shift called in sick, so I was supposed to take over his responsibilities. I had to accept it because I was still a novice, but I was extremely reluctant, however. I had just covered a 12-hour shift, right? Anyways, it was around 8 p.m. It was raining and it was thundering outside when suddenly the police came in with a dead body. Yeah, that's right. A dead body isn't really that of a big deal when you work in the hospital and in morgue, but this particular dead body was a little different. It was the dead body of a girl, an 18-year-old girl who was very young, I would say, who looked kind of pale. She had a noose mark around her neck, so I assumed that she must have had committed suicide. I didn't know why, I didn't know what was the purpose or where she was from, and my job responsibility did not ask me to ask questions to the police officers about the incident, so I kept mum. I took over the body, did my detailing, and locked the morgue and went back to my quarters. Around 12ish, I heard a faint noise. Something as if somebody was singing. At first, I didn't pay much attention to it, but as time went by, the music only grew louder. At first I thought that it must be a radio, somebody must have been playing, but then it occurred to me that there was nobody in the hospital that night except for me and the countless dead bodies that are there in the morgue. So I pressed my ears hard against the air and I tried to listen it. It was unmistakable. It was a song. It was a female voice, as if somebody was singing. That terrified me a little bit because I remember locking the morgue and it was indeed coming from the morgue itself. So I got up, I grabbed the keys of the padlock and I slowly walked towards the morgue. And as I kept walking towards the morgue, I realized the female voice, the song, the music kept on growing louder, but there was something in that voice, some kind of like as if the person who was singing the song had a lot of remorse in it. There was a lot of pain in that song. I noticed it, and as I was slowly pacing towards the morgue, the song grew louder and from something which was melodic and something which was a little bit pleasant to the ears started turning into a shrill cry. Then I unlocked the door and I walked in slowly. And there I saw the girl's body that had just come in was nowhere to be seen. I looked hither and thither, but there was no sign of her body. And then I saw it. Right in the corner of the morgue, she was there, staring at me, her hands grabbing chunks of meat and flesh and blood from other dead bodies. She looked at me and gave me a wicked smile and said, "Leave. I haven't eaten flesh for quite some time now. Let me feast." I was stunned and I didn't know what to do. Of course, I blacked out. And then, when I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by other medical professionals who were standing all around me. And I was still in the morgue. And they asked me, "What happened? Why did you faint? Why were you here?" I didn't tell them much. But when I got up, to my surprise, that young girl's body was still there. Was it a hallucination? Or was I daydreaming? Or was it a demon who had infested upon that girl's body? I would never know, because I'm not an expert in exorcism or an occult. But do you think I was hallucinating? Or do you think it was something that really happened? Let me know in the comment section. But until then, like and subscribe for more horror stories.